Okay, so once we have our folder created, we just need to go ahead and open up InDesign. And remember, this is found on the computers in the lab and all that stuff. So you can go in. You don't have to have this on your desk, on your laptop or your desktop. You can just go into a lab and get this done probably in a few hours here and there. So just go in and open up InDesign. So you're going to want to open it up. It's going to bring up, a blank thing by the time it's running through all of that stuff that looks something like this. And so it's important to know that InDesign, again, is just like a whole bunch of these other like Adobe products, in that it has a bunch of tools over here on the left-hand side that you can use to do things to your files and to your layout with. Up here is the menus, so if you click in on these, there's a whole bunch of detailed things you can do. And over here are what we call palettes. So palettes are where things like your pages or your layers, your links will live. And every once in a while you can put something new out there if you want. Like if you want to put like the info out, it'll create a little palette, and you can just come over here and you can dock it in there, and it'll help you switch through all of this stuff. So it's just a way of organizing all of the complicated things you can do in an Adobe product. Up here you have just more things you can do, like modify whatever object or item it is that you've got selected. So that's the basic work area. Don't get too confused by all this. Just try to follow these instructions step by step, and hopefully it won't confuse you too much. So what we want to do first off is we want to create a document. So if you go to, when you get InDesign open, you'll go to File. You just want to go to File, New, Documents. And we're going to create a document, and this depends on how many pages you want your file, your document to be. Again, if it's a 24-page document, you would put 24 pages in here. But what we want to do is we want to probably, I'm just going to go with 8 page just as a basic standard example, that you guys can change it as you want. But remember that multiples of 4, the pages of 4 gives you front and back of a piece of paper. So if you don't do that, you'll have some weird blank pages thrown in there. So the page size, this is actually what we want to think through here, is we want this to be a half of the size of the piece of paper that we're going to print on. So you want to think about your ultimate print size. So if you're going to do letter size, half of that is going to be about 5 inches wide. So to do that, you just double click in here and you write 5 inches. You have to do that because it'll convert it into the points for you. So that's going to mean it's going to be a half a piece of paper turned oriented along the landscape route. And then we want to think, well, what's our height? So if my height of my paper is usually 8.5, probably 8 inches is going to be my height maximum. So in this case, I'm actually going to do 7 inches just because I think that's kind of a nice proportion, but you guys can figure out your own thing that you want to do there. When I hit that button now, you can see it's brought up a new document, and I have all of these pages, these blank pages that are laid out here that are basically just empty. But one of these is going to fit. So one of these spreads right here is going to print on a piece of 8.5 by 11 paper, and then we can fold it right in the middle, and that'll create our little booklet for us. So that's pretty simple. The other thing that you want to know how to do, and if you're ever confused about how to find something, you just can't see it, just go up to Window and go to click on one of these buttons. In this case, we want to look at the Links button. And so you'll see the Links button shows you all of the things that you're going to end up placing into your file. So if I go in here and I go File, Place, and I go and I find one of my images here that I've been working with, and I just open it and I place it, you see that it's going to place that file in there, and now it shows up in the links. And the links is where all these things that we're going to place in this document are going to live. So if you're ever lost or you can't find something, you can click on that and you can see if you can find it. But one nice thing to know is if the contrast or something isn't quite right here, if it's not quite holding up the way I want it to, I can click on the link here, and I can go in here and I can go to Edit Original, and it'll bring up the original thing, and I can actually go in here and I can change things about it if I want to. I can edit it. Ideally, it will bring it up in Photoshop if you're going to edit it there. So we just have to kind of see if it'll let us do that. Since Photoshop's not set up as a default, sometimes it won't let you do that. But you can go in and just kind of figure out how to change things, and these little items here guide you to those locations and places. So just again, remember that this is not actually in the file. It's linked to the file in my folder. So if let's say I delete that folder and then I open up my InDesign file, InDesign isn't going to have any links to connect to, and it's just going to come up with a lot of blank empty placeholder things. So make sure once you start the project you don't delete anything, that you keep everything bundled together in the same spot. So the best way to do that, I found, is just go to File, Save As, and then go to your, go to your desktop and find the folder that you want to put this in. So we said that was going to be UCore 1000 comic, and I just save it here, and I would just call it UCore whatever you want to call it, that'll help you remember, and just click Save. And so now, anytime I hit Command S, so that's Command S or Control S, anytime I go up to File, Save, it's basically just going to save that folder, or save the InDesign file back into that folder. And then if I want to, let's say I want to work on this this thing on a different computer someplace, I can just put in a thumb drive and drag and drop this whole folder onto the thumb drive, and it's portable. I can carry it with me because all of the info I need is inside that folder. So I hope this helps. We'll move on to actually doing specific things in the document next.